good, everybody? This is Propaganda Anonymous, and you are tuned in to the Propanon Podcast. Join me as I explore topics discussed in the work of Robert Anton Wilson and interview some of the coolest people in the world. What do we talk about on the Propanon Podcast? We talk story. We talk symbolic anthropology, crime and criminology, alternative reality games, and UFOs. We talk conspiracy theory, comedy, comic books and quantum physics, liberation theology, negative theology, terrorism and music, sex, magic and drugs, psychedelics, housing and love. This is the Propanon Podcast. Tune in.
Open your fucking ears, jackass.
All right, everyone, we are here. This is the Propanon Podcast. What's good? I hope you are doing very well out there, wherever you are listening to this. And this interview today is with the legendary Lon Milo DuQuette. For those who are familiar with, say, the Western esoteric tradition, you probably have heard of Lon Milo. He is a leading teacher of the occult. He's written so many great books, roughly 20 of them, translated into about 12 different languages. My favorite of his is his memoir, My Life with the Spirits, which reminds me a lot of the work of Robert Anton Wilson, specifically Wilson's Cosmic Trigger Volume 1, as both books pay great special journalistic attention to detail in their recountings of their individual journeys through Chapel Perilous and what they find at the other side. So that's one book I definitely recommend listeners to pick up. That's Lon Milo's book, My Life with the Spirits. But before I get ahead of myself, very quickly, as I said, Lon Milo is he's a writer, a musician, a magician, and a leading teacher in all things occult. It was such a pleasure to sit down and speak with him for this interview, where he briefly gets into the importance of achieving the knowledge and conversation with one's holy guardian angel on this magical path, if you are choosing to take this magical path. And he does a great job of explaining the process of how, one is supposed to both send out one's love, but also receive love of one's holy guardian angel, which is great. And then afterwards, Lon breaks down how to raise demons and how to get them to do some work for you, like they did for Solomon. Without further ado, this is my interview with the great Lon Milo DuQuette. People to access the tradition of magic to, I guess, make their lives more fun, yeah? And the one main way that seems to be used in Crowley's system is the knowledge and conversation with the Holy Guardian Angel. And that seems to be the central tenet of Crowley's system. I just find it always interesting how even that ritual seems to be fluid and has, changed and morphed from Abram Ellen the mage, how this person did this long, extensive ritual, to how Robert Anton Wilson did it with a cassette tape and LSD in a darkened room, with how you also worked with the knowledge and conversation of Holy Guardian Angel. It's something that when it becomes so fluid of a exercise, what I always wonder is how do you ballast that? How do you know that you had that experience? Just from your own experience, what are your? I know you answer this question so much, but like, what do you think about it?
First of all, just because a magical text is old doesn't mean that it's like a recipe book, or if you follow it, you'll get an apple pie at the end. Okay, it's not like that. Every magic book that you read, whether it's talking about the Holy Guardian Angel or Goetic evocation or Enochian magic or any of it, you have to remember all of it. Every one of them is one magician's experience, or maybe not even experience, one magician's opinion, or one magician's projected idea or uh, essay or thesis. And because magic is a science that uh, deals with consciousness, nobody's, no two people's consciousness uh, machinery is alike. Okay, and the best that we can do when we start to discuss the level of consciousness associated with the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel, the best we can do is just search around for a vocabulary to discuss it. And probably the most common vocabulary to discuss the holy guardian angel experience is provided us by the Hindus. And it's a level of consciousness associated with the heart chakra. And when you say heart chakra, people all over the world goes, I get that. This heart chakra opening. Okay, I get that. And which is, in my opinion, absolutely accurate. It is raising your point of view, your consciousness point of view, to that particular level of the heart chakra, anahat chakra, and that experience is almost universally described as a love feedback. Okay, the Hindus have the branch of yoga called Bhakti yoga, or yoga of devotion, whereby the simple act of triggering your own latent machinery of consciousness to enable you to fall totally gaga, insanely, helplessly, hopelessly in love with God. So that you always see Krishna say, well, you love me in devotion, you know, love me, yet that's it. Because we can learn how to fall in love, or we can stumble into falling in love. And when we do so, it triggers mechanisms in ourselves that is like when you adore something so intently that something that you're adoring can take the place of the universal singularity of consciousness, of existence itself. And you can call that a God, and you can make that God attractive to you. For some people, the image of a goddess or a god or a being of the sort of the opposite gender that we can be totally attracted to. Or for some people, it is just the freaking love of beauty. Some people can look into a dog's eyes and get that. I can worship God adoringly, 100% in the eyes of this dog or spider or whatever you can do that with.
Love is love, man.
Love is love, and it's every freaking cliche of love songs are absolutely cosmically correct. But it's so easy. It's so easy to fall in love, okay? But that's only one part of the circuitry. That is only one polarity of the thing. it's easy to fall in love. It's more difficult to be loved. So you can send out your love ray, sort of, you want to get the wheel of the Anahat chakra going, and you can get it half going by being able to beam out your love ray, but that's only one part of the of an alternating current that needs to alternate. You have to be able to open up and receive that same intensity of love back from the deity or the beloved. You not only have to unoccludedly send out the ray and then unoccludedly receive it back. And when that happens, the wheel starts to turn. It's like when you hold a microphone up to an amplified speaker, okay, you get a feedback. And it's usually a terribly screechy, loud, unpleasant feedback when you do it with sound. But a love feedback is the same thing. Once you've done that, you've hit the alternating current. It's the Kabbalists would say it's Yod Hey Vav Hey, Hey Vav Hey Yod. Okay, it's the ultimate electricity, the alternating current of existence. That is the level of consciousness that's associated with the holy guardian angel. And everybody, well, let me say it this way, no two people can trigger that feedback the same way. And with in 14 or the late 1300s, when ever Abraham the Jew was writing his Sacred Magic of Abramelin the Mage, look at what the consciousness of an Eastern European Jew was at that time. What would it take for that brilliant left hemisphere mind? What would it take for him to fall hopelessly gaga in love with the abstraction of the singularity of the universe? This guy was going to have to trick himself into that state of consciousness. And so for him, there was this entire systematic, step-by-step acceleration of devotion that he had to slap his cold-hearted intellect into beating himself up in order to do this falling in love thing. And so whether it was 6 months or 9 months or 18 months, according to probably more accurate translations, this guy was having to strip away the left hemisphere Ruachian, as in Ruach, the Kabbalistic level of or part of the soul that's associated with the intellect. He was going to have to overcome that with a whole big process. He was going to have to get funky. Okay. He was going to have to fall in love. And for him, it was almost a scientific procedure. Crowley saw that and said, okay, I see the formula of what he's doing. I see what was going on there. Okay. You don't have to do 18 months. Okay, you just have to do these few steps here. And if you're already sort of a trained Kabbalistic magician, uh, this is how I could go about that in, say, 22 weeks or even 11 weeks. Um, uh, but Crowley was almost more like Abramelin in what he had to overcome than Bob was, or even maybe as you or me would have to be. Okay. Abramelin was really uptight and really, or Abraham the Jew was really uptight and really had to trick himself into it. Crowley was less uptight, and so his was a more simple procedure. Bob just flat out got it. I'm not as uptight as Crowley. Let's just switch on this. Uh, I can get my consciousness to the level that took Abramelin 12 weeks to get. I could just pop that this evening,
Right.
and have my setting thing going for me, and do it that way. So I'm not denigrating the any magician's desire as a magical art form to submit yourself to the Abramelin operation or Crowley's Liber Samic operation. Not at all. If that's your sense of art, you're getting behind it. But it's really, really, ultimately so simple that it's hard. And most people that achieve what could be labeled as the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel have never heard of magic, never even heard that there is a name for this new level of consciousness that they've achieved. And they don't need to. they don't, they just don't need to. But after you've achieved that level of consciousness, it's not an event that takes place in linear space-time as we think of it. Levels of consciousness are eternal moments. So it's almost like once you've got it, there's no way you could ever not have it. Okay, because it's a moment that is taking place in eternity. So it's not like, well, yesterday I got knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel, but today, mosquitoes bite me and I get bummed out, and and I got drunk today.
That's the way it feels, though, right? Yeah. Like after a peak experience where maybe perhaps one does experience some conversation with an angelic being, you crash back in this reality and you get upset about the same things that upset you before,
Yeah. And but the thing is, that is still going on. It's not you that crashed. It's your point of view that has slipped. Okay. In magic, you've got in Kabbalistic magic, got 10 levels of initiation corresponding to that Kabbalistic tree of life. You don't, when you go from 10 to 9, you'll always have that 10 also with you. Okay. But your platform, the real you will be in 9. And when you go from 9 to 8, I wish I had a tree of life here to show you. Still have that 10, and you still have that 9, and the 10 goes up this path, and the 9 goes up that path. Okay, you carry it all with you, like the in the Yellow Submarine, the vacuum cleaner monster that reaches back with its trunk and sucks its own tail up. Okay, you take it all with you. So, and it's your decision, and it's your privilege or duty or curse or blessing to know that at any given moment you can identify with that new eternal moment. And so the uh, it feels just exactly like you described about, oh man, I was up there in Brahmaloka, man. I was just like, and today I was the same old crap, you know. Hey, same old crap. You're going to have the same old crap until you dissolve into Godhead. But it's not you that has it. The new you continues to be a new you, and it's your choice as to which of those platforms you want to self-identify with.
Well, that's something that's always, fascinated me and intrigued me. That was one of the things I like about Bob's work, like Prometheus Rising, especially perhaps, is that providing the metaphor of these higher circuits of which you can access, which, according to your statement, we are that now, and that's on the map, and we can continue, that's there always. And, but how to get back there when not under such powerful, intense circumstances, like trying to utilize forms of self hypnosis and maybe magic as creative visualization to invoke that state of consciousness. Is that sort of the trick to get back there in your everyday life?
Well, I guess it is the trick. First of all, the big trick is to realize and accept that time as we understand it does not exist. Flat out. It's not, I was there yesterday, I'm not here today. No, there is no yesterday or today. There's only a nowness. And it's a nowness that you just literally slip back into, in the same way as you don't know when you fall from waking consciousness to dream consciousness. You're not aware of it happening because you are taking yourself with you. Okay. When you slip into a dream consciousness, and this, I'm just using this as an example, not a technical parallel, but all of a sudden you're just there. One moment you're asleep or you're awake looking at the ceiling, and all of a sudden you are right in the middle of a dream sequence of some kind. You don't even think, where did I come from? You're just there. Okay. It's as slipping from one level of consciousness to another is that simple, so simple that uh, the part of you that would realize that it is happening is too gross of a consciousness machine to register that it has happened. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yes. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And uh, so the relinquishing that binding point of view of linear space time uh, helps. Okay, helps you to realize that the place you're going, the place that you want to go, the place that you think you've been, is not a place you go or are or have been. It's where you are now, which is Bob tried to say it. It's where you're standing right now. Okay, and that is the mysticalness of Magick that many people who are initially attracted to Magick uh, have difficulty with. So.
Right. Thank you for that. And in that, I guess the two paths of Magick, the magic of, mystically identifying with the Godhead and gaining that true knowledge of self, if you will, and then the magic that is about gaining things in this time and space. Get the technical terms. It's like theurgic and thermergic magics. Uh, but in that respect, right? Like, so you have the knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel to get your mind right, yeah, and then like in your own work, you were an intrepid traveler in the magical realm, and against your mentor and teacher's warning, you dove right in and worked with the Goetia in a tough financial moment, and it worked, but at a cost, as you said, like and like I'm really curious about that, in terms of working. We're speaking about angels, and now we speak about demons real quick, how the demons can get you shit, right? Like, can you break that down a little bit?
Well, uh, first of all, there is no shortage of shit to get. Okay, there's there's uh, there's an infinity of shit to get. So it's not like shit is being kept from us. Okay, and the the demons. Goetic spirits have been called demons just because uh, they've had such a bad rap from religious points of view and institutions that look down upon anything material or look down on any kind of uh, things that they would call low. But the the big metaphor is King Solomon. Okay, man of God, working directly for God, and first thing God tells him how to do is whip up demons to do some constructive work for him. Okay, they're not bad. Okay, but if they're not under control, they behave in such ways that are uncomfortable. In the same way that heavy machinery, earth movers and bulldozers and backhoes and things like that are just very wonderful, constructive things. But if you leave the key on and leave them in gear and jump off the bulldozer and let it just run through town all night, it's going to flatten the town, and that seems evil. Okay. So uh, the idea is that uh, Goetic spirits have been used because they do the heavy lifting in the universe. And the magician who is motivated by, I guess, unworthy, I don't want to cast moral aspersions, but lack of a better word, a magician motivated by unworthy motives, a magician motivated by desires and intentions that aren't really in harmony with the magician's own best interests, trying to trigger these same influences are going to backfire on him or her or it or whatever. And so that appears to be, well, oh, no way. I know a bunch of magicians. They got into Goetia. They went crazy. They were crazy before they started. Okay. Okay. It just made them more colorfully crazy. Okay. The idea is we've all have potential talents, gifts, if you will, powers. We've got tons of them that we're wasting, that we're not using, that we're not focusing, that we're not channeling into helpful directions. All of us. We got a whole menagerie of them. Well, you could just say, well, we got 72 of them, okay?
Right.
And some of them we've already got under control. Some of them are just doing fine. Yeah, I got a roof over my head tonight. I got that guy under control, sort of. Okay. Yes, I've got a full belly today. I got that guy under control. But there's a whole lot of guys that you don't have under control that could be under control. And they're all officially working for you. And most of them are just running amok, unsupervised, just expending their wild, blind forces along the lines of least resistance in the circuitry of your life. And when they're under control, they're under control. And they're working for you. You're happy. Demons happy. They're doing what they do. And as your life improves, their life improves. You're slowly turning those demons into the angels that are supporting your great work.
A great way that I've heard you equate it is, in the psychological frame and metaphor, and that these are aspects of our, I guess, subconscious mind that, yes, could run rampant. And I guess you don't even know that they're running rampant, just kind of like, running in the background or something like that. Like, have you done then over the years, it seems like you have like a number of rituals then to work with these like specific sort of, like, could I conjure Asmodai and seek to put him in the circle and make him do work for me?
Sure. Yes. Well, of course. And of course, the part of the art form of magic, part of the science and art form of magic, is that part of your brain knows that what you're dealing with are aspects of consciousness and such. But in order to actually make it work, to trigger the mechanism that makes it work, you, at least for the time being, accept the fact that they are objective beings. Okay? You don't look at them and say, I know you're an aspect of my ruach, or you're an aspect of my neshama, or my nepish, like demons. But no, you're just making it hard on yourself. Fucking pretend. Can't you pretend? It's your imagination. It's the most powerful force that a magician has. Just because it's your imagination doesn't mean that it's not real. And so, of course, you can. but your Asmodee may be a totally different character than my Asmodee, even though they both may be objective characters. It's not like um, you got 72 spirits hanging around like a pool hall in hell or something, and the phone rings and Asmodee is for you, and it comes to the, Gabriel's on the other end and Lon's on the other end. Nah, you got one all yours. You got 72 of these guys all to yourself. They're all they're all yours. If you lump them together, they're one big ganglia of consciousness. But maybe I've got my Asmodee less under control than you do, or vice versa, if that makes any sense at all. And of course you can. And in classic Faustian style, the more powerful, the greater the devil, the more flattered they are to be called, and the more willing they are to come, because you're looking at them right now. It's like it's like people say, "Oh, it must be hard to invoke an archangel or evoke an archangel, either one." No, the bigger they are, the easier they are to get, okay? Because the more universal they are. How do you get an archangel? Well, the archangel Gabriel, if you will. All you have to do is turn your nose to the west, and everything between the south and the north is Gabriel. Is already there. Okay.
All right. I like that.
It's hard for them to push stuff around. Okay, uh, uh, they got a whole team of assistants, lesser angels, more specific angels that work under the archangel, and then each of those angels has a whole bunch of little intelligences that work for them in their job. It's a fractalized pecking order, a fractalized hierarchy of divisions and subdivisions of consciousness. And the magician's art is sort of to romanticize this technical dissection of abstractions, and say, oh, that's a big angel with big wings, and this a littler angel, and he's just got shoulder blades, and then you got all sorts of these little spirits that work under them, and they have funny little faces and things. But the little guys do specific things. And as you're saying, okay, I'm going to ask Raphael to send another little angel that works in this respect. Well, and I use this analogy a lot, if an archangel, there's 4 great archangels in Kabbalistic magic, and they would really roughly correspond to the 4 great forces of nature. Electromagnetic force, strong force, weak force, gravity. So gravity would be Earth, the Earth thing. So gravity is a great archangel and has universal influence all through the cosmos. The influence of gravity is everywhere until you get subatomic particles and stuff like that. But specific gravitational duties, like what makes mass influential with gravity in relationship to mass would be taken care of by an angel working for gravity. And then there would be smaller spirits of gravity that would be responsible for a pencil sliding off of a table. So that would be uh, roll AL. Gravity AL would be the big archangel, and then there's roll AL, and there's drop AL, and for working in conjunction with liquids or water, that would be drip AL, or okay, splat AL, plummet AL, okay, more specific, more specific, more specific. But when you're doing it in a ceremonial way, what you're doing is using your own equipment, your own spiritual equipment to funnel that gravitational force down to something specific, more specific, more specific, more specific, and you want that guy to do a specific job for you. And he'll do it because you have properly channeled from the general to the specific. Let's say you live near Camp Pendleton Marine Base, but you really would like a small company of soldiers to dig a ditch for you, okay? And let's say you're not in the military, so you have to go to the general first and say, look, hey, Mr. General, I've got a specific job I got to do. My property's adjacent to yours. I would like one of your soldiers to come dig a ditch for me this afternoon. Well, the general's not going to dig a ditch for you, but the general would say, okay, I'll get it done for you. The general calls captain. Captain calls, I don't know what the pecking order is. Captain calls a lieutenant. Lieutenant calls a sergeant. Sergeant calls a private, and the private digs a ditch for you. But that private wasn't going to do a damn thing for you unless the sergeant told him, unless the lieutenant told him, unless the captain told him, unless the general told the captain. That's the theory behind hierarchical Kabbalistic angel magic. And if you want to start casting moral aspersions on things, the guy that actually digs a ditch for you is a demon.
Got it.
And for that afternoon, he did the right thing for you.
And so in order to get the demon to do the work, you have to hit up the archangel first, in other words.
You got to prove that, well, yeah, in that analogy, yes.
Right.
But you've got to prove that you're working for the supreme singularity of the universe, which is why the analogy of King Solomon is so perfect for a magician. King Solomon didn't try to get a bunch of ditch diggers to build the Temple of Solomon. King Solomon, as is actually stated, entered into the presence of the singularity. King Solomon went straight to God and said, I can't figure out how to dig this ditch. I can't figure out how to build this thing. I just inherited this job. I want to build a miniature functional working model of the cosmos. And I don't have the brains to do that. And I don't have the strength to do that. I need to figure out how to do that. Okay. And only you have the game plan that could pull that off. So I'm just throwing myself open. I just want to know how to work for you. And I guess that impressed the Supreme Deity so much. They said, nobody ever asked me anything that cool before, you know. You got it, kid. Not only that, but here's the phone number of the Demon Union. You know, it's yours. Tell them you're working for me. And that's exactly what a magician does before they do any kind of a ceremony. They do the invocation first. The deity, the general, has to be contacted first. Not only contacted, but invited in. Okay. Invocation of the deity, so that when the spirit looks at you, they're looking at the face of the deity and not your smiling little face in the robe in the circle. Okay, when they're looking at you, they're looking at God. And you have to be able to bamboozle yourself into feeling that's what you're doing, or else you'll never be able to bamboozle the spirit. So you can see how even an exercise like that for a common duty or just sort of I want such and such to happen on a material, even that exercise becomes an exercise of attunement of the highest order. In other words, to do magic that low, you have to be a magician that's that high. And each and every time you practice that, at the very least, you're oiling up your own machinery to do that. And you see how that would be a very wholesome, a very practical, healthy spiritual exercise.
Love it. To talk to demons, you have to talk to angels first.
Yeah.
Right.
And know your own place in the angelic hierarchy. It's like, hey, I'm one of you guys too. I work for him, you work for me.
All right, there it is, folks. There you have it. The interview with the great Lon Milo DuQuette. Wow, wasn't that nice, man? What a living treasure this guy is, man. So much magical information, so much just good information to have in life in general. A true sage, you know? So hey, if you want to know more or learn more about Lon Milo, he's keeping a constant vigil at his YouTube channel. It's called Arcanum Luminarium. I'll spell that for you. It's ArcanumLuminarium. Arcanum Luminarium. That's his YouTube channel. Be sure to like and subscribe. I know that every day he's making some really cool vlogs, posting some really great tidbits of magical knowledge and information that if you are on the path, it's good to have. And also be sure to check out my website, chapelperilous.us, for updates on my upcoming book, Chapel Perilous: The Life and Thought Crimes of Robert Anton Wilson. I put up a lot of new information, old information, newly found information about the life and work of Robert Anton Wilson, and I provide some commentary. So for all you bobheads out there, check out chapelperilous.us. And that's it. I hope you guys, again, are doing great. I hope the day and the night hits you well. And remember to stay strong. All right, I'm propping on. I'm out. Peace.